Good morning. My name is Andrew Blustein, and I am chairman of Garfunkel Wild. For those of you who don't know, and we do have a number of people that have registered who are not clients of Garfunkel Wild, we are a full-service law firm that's dedicated to the healthcare industry. Working out of our offices in Albany, Great Neck, Hackensack, Stamford, and Fort Lauderdale, we advise healthcare clients throughout the United States. Part of our mission at Garfunkel Wild is serving the healthcare industry is education. We have YouTube channels, webinars, client alerts, podcasts, and all sorts of information. And 9 years ago, we put on our first all-day ASC seminar. Shout out to Nelson Gomes from Medicus IT and Scott Parker from Arcadia, who helped shape the idea of this type of all-day seminar. Since we started 9 years ago, our platform has extended beyond ASCs to include healthcare management in general. So even if you're not working in an ASC, I think you'll find the information that we present today to be useful for all types of healthcare organizations. So for many years, the all-day event was in person, and the in-person approach had its benefits. We were able to meet, educate, drink a little bit, and many attendees said that if they actually met people and made important business connections. But putting aside costs, we also had some grumblings. People didn't like to be out of the office all day. People had to deal with flights and traveling. And so we took that into consideration, but then COVID hit and everything changed and everything went virtual. So that was a game changer, and we all became comfortable with being virtual. And last year we did our virtual seminar, and we received a lot of positive comments. So then the question was, what do we do this year? And as you could imagine, you have to start planning this months before it's ready. And so we decided to go virtual again, but we mixed it up a little this year. So there are some live presentations and some pre-recorded. I am live, should have held up like a newspaper so you could see that it was today. And I think as you go through this, you might not know when somebody's live or somebody is recorded, and that's good. And we're gonna see how this hybrid formula works. And ultimately what we do is decided by all the enrollees who will be filling out surveys that you'll get a couple of days afterwards, and then you'll be off and running and telling us what you want. So if you submitted a presentation and it was not picked, we are sorry. Please submit again next year. There's only so many spaces that you can take, and we do keep track of where we said no to somebody. That gives you a little bit of a priority next year. But in picking the presentations, we focused on three main themes. First, we wanted to help people understand changes and to try to predict where certain issues might be headed. So for example, there's a panel on managed care trends, where we are and where we're going. Second of all, we wanted to provide practical tips. So in our HR presentation, you'll see how do I deal with difficult employees. And finally, we want it to be thought-provoking. So you'll find there's a presentation on challenging us to have better patient safety in the ambulatory setting. So with these goals in mind, let me introduce the agenda. First up will be Bill Prentice, who will be live from some undisclosed location in the United States. After Bill, my partner, Kim Kempton, will be moderating a session titled Current State of Healthcare Transactions. That was very interesting, and it was amazing to see two different speakers from different companies collaborating. That's Matt Searles from Merit Healthcare and Robert Getling from the Bloom organization. And we really appreciate especially the speakers who kind of came together to create great products. After that, my partners, Andrew Zwerling and Marianne Monroy, who are, among other things, great employment lawyers. They'll provide a presentation dealing with best practices in the HR context. We received a lot of comments last year on the survey. People said, always make sure you have an HR presentation. So there you go. That'll take us to 11 o'clock, where I'll be presenting a session on strategies for minority owners after the deal. It's a terrible title, which I take full responsibility for. But I'll be joined by Max Rival, President and CEO of the Coca Group, and Roy Brajano, co-founder and CEO of Scale. Wait for the end of the presentation. There's some heated debate between Roy and I, but it's all in good fun and good spirit. And now, given the problems that providers are still having with being hacked and whatnot, we picked the presentation to start at 12 o'clock on preventing and responding to security breaches. Justin Fraser, Director of Mazars USA, and my partner, Stacy Gulick, will be talking about that. That is a pre-recorded one. And one of the interesting things that Justin says is scary. Says the question is not if you get hacked, but when. So watch this. Maybe the when will become later off. And then if it happens, unfortunately, Stacy will tell you how to deal with that. A very interesting presentation takes place at 12:45 with Karen Nefaris, Senior Director of Clinical Quality at Acela Surgical Care Affiliates. And she really challenges us to become safer in the ambulatory setting. And she has a very interesting comparison between the airline industry and the healthcare industry. So tune in and see if you agree with the distinctions that she's drawing out. At 1:30, Garfunkel Health Advisors, which is a coding and auditing subsidiary of our law firm, will be presenting on upcoming coding changes and process improvement. That's with Alicia Schickel, who's the president of GHA, and Simon Chackler. And that's followed at 2 o'clock by Tim Hubert from Medicus IT, showing how to use technology to expand operations. A not to be missed presentation is at 2:30. It's an incredible panel, which includes Randy Blum, Vice President of Managed Care from Catholic Health, Brent Estes, Chief Managed Care Officer of Mount Sinai, Kareem Habibi of Managed Care from NYU Langone, and my partner, Deborah Silverman, who I refer to lovingly as the Queen of Managed Care. It's very intellectual, very informative, and again, very thought-provoking. So the session before our Q&A is with Alexandra Reyes. She's the Vice President of Region Surgical Health, and she's discussing organic growth in your ASC. And again, if you watch that, those are principles that you can apply to any healthcare organization. Finally, at 3:45, my partner Greg Bloom and I will be live, and all the speakers are coming back. And so if you have questions during the day, you can email them to us, and we'll try to ask them. And also, if you log on, you can also put it into the chat box. So sit back and get ready for a great day. But one programming note: in the past, if you've attended, we always have a session on New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut state changes. We decided this year not to do that. As many of you are not from those states, it seemed not useful to those of you. So we decided not to do that. However, we are asking you, if you want to make a donation to your state association, we would appreciate that, because today is free and we need to support those state associations. And we'll see you again at 3:45. So with that, let me turn the stage over to our first speaker, Bill Prentice. Bill has been with us for 9 years in a row, which is amazing, and we appreciate that. And he's the CEO of the Ambulatory Surgery Center Association. The association is a national organization representing, at last count, Bill, I hope it's more, 5,500 ASCs in the U.S.
Over 6,000 now, Andrew.
Approximately 6,000 ASCs in the U.S., providing adequacy, benchmarking, and education for its members, So thanks to all our enrollees, and I invite Bill Prentice to take over the virtual podium.